Good afternoon. Today is Monday, August 19th, 2024. It's the first day of the DNC, in case you people are following those things. And today, welcome to Belloheart. Today we want to talk about victimhood in America. Back after this. All right, so what is what? Oh, okay, so I started this channel. I gotta stop putting my hands up to my face. Oh, first thing, let's see if we can get this to work. I'm doing this all myself, so keep that in mind, guys. Where are you? Oh, oh, no, not working. Oh yeah, there you go. Nope. Subscribe. Thanks, guys. Like and subscribe. Most people don't watch more than a minute, and I get it. I'm a new podcaster. I don't have any credibility. And so I got my subscribe button. I think it worked, right? Looks like it did. Right here below, somewhere over there. Yep. Okay. Anyway, so sorry about that. I'm a new podcaster. I don't see why anybody would want to, necessarily follow me yet or subscribe yet until I prove myself. So I get that. But so the reason why I started Belloheart is really just because I hopefully you guys can hear me is today, because I think the audio was a little rough the other day. Anyway, so the reason why I started Belloheart was because I'm sick and tired of all the lies the media tells us, right? So I said to you guys, I'm 48 years old now, and I have two kids, 18 and 16, right? Boy or girl. And it's hard for me to just sit around and do nothing when I know that we're being lied to constantly by our media, by the mainstream media, and by our government. And today I argued with some liberals, my on Facebook, because I posted a picture of uh, of an ad in Craigslist for $15 an hour paid actors, to protests. And I said, this is what's going on. Is that there? So for some reason, the liberals are more upset that the ad is fake than the fact that people are being paid to protest America, and make it look like people are actually divided when we're not. Right? That's the whole problem. So the question is, why do people protest when they don't care, right? Just for money, which goes back to the root of all evil. And why do Americans not see what's happening? Like, I don't understand. Like, to me, it's so obvious every day when you look at the news that they're lying to you. How do you not see that stuff, right? America was founded by good people, good, wholesome hearted, family valued people, right? God fearing, family, hardworking Americans, farmers, basically, right? And our values are based on Judeo-Christian values, right? That's what it's, right? And why are we so divided as a country? It makes you wonder, right? Why? Why? I think of it every day, and the reason is because people are being lied to all the time, right? And not only are they being lied to, now now we use social media to group it together, like to form groups of people who come together with the similar values, and then we attack each other, right? So, like for instance, I started a MAGA Facebook page. Shout out to my MAGA Facebook people, and just because I was tired of going on Facebook to put MAGA stuff, and then all the people would start putting Trump stuff. Not that I care what people think. It's just that I don't feel like the reason why I do what I do is to spread truth, right? The truth is we're being lied to, and the mainstream media is run by the CIA and the deep state and their agenda. So for people that don't know that and don't want to know that, okay, fine. But it's the truth, and just because you're in denial and you don't want to admit the fact that our government is crooked, and you still think we live in a land where our government cares about us and has our best interests at heart, I'm sorry, that's just not the truth. How you can look at what's going on in our country right now and blame Trump is mind-boggling to me. That goes back to my last week's episode on Trump derangement syndrome, which is a very serious condition in our country, right? Which goes along to our victimhood. Is America They love to play. We love to. Well, not Americans. I think that they want us to play victims against, and then feel like we're being um, exploited or being victimized or being singled out, labeled, right? And then we go back, and then everybody goes back at each other. But why do we? Why? Who in America is really a victim, right? We live in the best country in the world. Um, we can say whatever we want, pretty much do whatever we want. I mean, obviously within the laws, not get arrested, don't go to jail being stupid. But, as long as you're a respectable person, you can do whatever you want. So we're in the best country in the world. I don't think anybody in America could play the victim anymore, 2024. So why is it all that we do as Americans? Why do we feel that we need to play the race card, right? To me, race is pathetic, right? Nobody's worth should be based on their race. Just like nobody's worth should be based on their sexual preferences, and nobody's worth should be based on their whatever they feel inside or anything else. Who cares? Everybody is the same no matter what. Americans need to stop fighting and come together as people to save the country, because I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but there's where I'm just looking at the time, sorry. Excuse me. I'm a little sick. Americans just need to come together and see what's happening. See that the politicians don't give a shit about us. They don't. Anybody who thinks they do is lost. Okay? How you guys can, and so that goes to celebrity worship and all that stuff. And all this stuff is going to come out in the end as false. Every single system that we believed in growing up, Gen Xers, is going to come out as corrupt now because of money, right? And this goes back to my American belief that we all have. How did we get here? How did we get to this point to where we're all fighting each other, or we think we're fighting each other? I think the division is worse. It's not as bad as we think. I think that the media sensationalizes the division, and I think social media just exacerbates it. And I think that if you actually took the people on social media and put them in a room together, that half of them wouldn't say that most of the shit that they say, because either they don't truly believe it, or they just try to cause, or they're really doing it just to cause a rise and feel important, right? And that goes back to some sort of a victim mentality, right? A weak mentality when you get joy out of hurting others or making others feel a certain thing, negative thing. That's an evil person, right? So American values, right? How did our good intentions get so? I think as Americans, right, or even our politicians that I call them corrupt all the time, I think they started off with good intentions, right? I think that a politician goes into public service thinking, like, hey, I'm gonna change things. I want to help my people. I want to represent my constituents, and I want to rise to the top. Hey, maybe become president one day by doing the right thing. And then they get into the swamp, and then they get corrupted, right? Either through blackmail, through money, or through smearing. So they did something in their past they're ashamed of, and they get threatened. Maybe they get threatened for their lives, depending on what they know or what they have their influence over. And I think eventually, that's been happening for the last 100 years, at least since the 1950s, right? 80 years at least. And the politicians over time have just become, the establishment politicians have just become corrupt. And but now, so they get paid for money. And they make money, and they compromise their beliefs for money, and they go against the American people, right? But now the people with the most money are even eviler than they used to be, right? So before, it used to be like, hey, a construction company would lobby, hey, I want to do the roads, or I want to build this big building in the city, and then we're like, that's corrupt, right? But we're like, whatever, who cares? They're building a building, they're doing whatever. Well, now the corrupt people are actually want to destroy the country from the inside, because they can't beat us from the outside, right? America's the most powerful military in the world, and we all know that, right? So how do they beat us? They make us weak from the inside. How do they do that? They make us fight amongst each other. This whole thing is ultimately to what's going on right now is a power play, right, by the politicians who have been in power forever, and the only person that can stop them is Trump. So how do they get us? How do they play on our psychology, right? They take our values as Americans, and we care about stuff. Remember, we used to, just like when they used to show us videos of Africans, kids starving in Ethiopia or something, we used to send money because, Americans, that's how we fix everything with money, because we care. Oh my God, we can't see, just like we can't see pets or things being hurt on the screen, because it hurts our feelings, it hurts our hearts. And so we send money to the shelters, right? We see our veterans being injured at battle, and so we start charities that want to help them because Americans care. We are good people at heart, right? Well, now the politicians know that the only way to get us to really care is to create a situation that we have to pick sides on, right? So they create like the George Floyd thing. Now I don't know if who knows what yet, but it's a proven fact that George Floyd wasn't murdered, right? And he OD'd or had some sort of a condition. I can look it up. You guys can look it up too. And that whole thing was used to launch the BLM riots. For what? To create division and to prove all there's racism. Meanwhile, half the people, 90% of the people that were there were probably paid actors, just like they are nowadays in the Palestinian protests. And it wasn't even real. It was like a fake racial division that we're trying to create using the media and social media that doesn't really exist. The reason why they have to create racism is because there is no racism. Racism isn't as bad as you think. Why do they have to fake the BLM riots? Because that shit wouldn't have happened on its own. Why do they have to start it off the George Floyd thing? Because it wouldn't have happened on its own. Because Americans are generally loving and caring, and we're not racist to each other at this point of our lives. We've come a long way, and we've all learned. So I think that, and they exploit things like racism because we care, right? Now they do the same thing with they use your sexual preference, being a gay or a lesbian. Like they want you to pick a side, and they make the gays feel like they're going to be, hunted down or whatever, or at least what's the right word I'm looking for? Be labeled and singled out. And meanwhile, during my lifetime, the gays achieved equal rights, right? They got marriage, they got everything. I mean, I don't look at gays as any different than anybody else. So I don't see why they're afraid. I mean, they should be celebrating the fact that we got equal rights for gays as well, right? And then now the trans thing. But the trans thing is just what do we even need to talk about the trans thing for? It's like the 5%, less than 5% of the population of the earth. And what are we even having a conversation about it? It should be a private matter between doctors and family members and the parents, right? And whoever else is close to those people, whoever loves them. It shouldn't be involved in government stuff. Why did the government involve trans stuff and racial things and gender and now the feminist thing with Kamala and her color, where she's from? Like, it matters. Who cares where she's from? Can she do the job? No, she's useless. She cannot do this. She's not qualified. I've not heard her say one thing that makes her qualified to be any of those positions she's had in her life. So as Americans, don't you want to at least hear about her policies, or you just want to elect her because she's not Trump? Well, if that's the only reason why you want her to be president is because she's not Trump, then you have a mental disorder. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. Okay, you've been manipulated by the media to hate one man. And even if he was as bad as you think, it still should not be something that you're obsessed with. It's ridiculous. Wake up. You're being lied to, abused, exploited. You're pushing an evil agenda that's trying to destroy the American values. Wake up, Democrats. The truth is there. The truth is the truth. I'm sorry if you have to hear that this is what it is. Our government sucks. And they're taking advantage of it. The Democratic Party is ultimately evil. And that's just the way it is. Wake up. Thank you for watching Belloheart today. It is August 19th, and I just want to say thank you. Please like and subscribe if you made it this far. Probably my next video hopefully will be tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good day.